So the interface we chose to redesign for this project was Microsoft Word 2016. My name is Bilal Ahmed.
I'm Matthew College.
I'm Mason Martel.
And this is Yang Chen.
Project Identity and Opportunity for Redesign. Microsoft Word is a very popular piece of software despite its flaws, mainly due to its popular developer and incredible availability. Because of this, it's used by nearly everyone who needs to write out a document, most notably for workplace, school, and scholarly purposes. There are, however, a variety of issues we found in the interface of Microsoft Word, which gives us a lot of opportunities to redesign. The first page for Microsoft Word that contains too many options in the menu bar. Most of the options in the menu bar don't get used by the majority of users, so our overall goal is the cleanup of the current interface by displaying only the options that get used most often by users, and hiding the other options under something like an advanced tab. We plan to sort out the functions most frequently used by users and put them clearly in the first tab. Additionally, we plan to reduce the number of styles that get displayed by default. Once the default menu has been shrunk, we also want to add an icon to fold up the entire menu so it's not in the user's view. We also want to add functionality to allow users to easily convert essays into MLA and APA formats. This is the current interface. You all know it. It's Microsoft Word.
So the first low fidelity prototype we did was a scrolling prototype. The basic idea about this prototype was hide all the tools that we don't usually need in the right side of the scrolling bar and put the most used functions in the left side. So a user who entered this interface can see the function he need immediately on the top of this page. And also, I need to point out is the tabs. The tabs below the toolbars is not actually tabs. They're not buttons. They're just a guideline of where the tool is going to be so the user can scroll and to find the function he needs. And there are the feedbacks from this prototype was the original interface is better. Seems our users like the original interface than this scrolling prototype. He would rather have a single view instead of a scrolling view. Also, the user's feedback says this interface is too simple. There's no explanation of tools. One of their suggestion is adding a search bar for the tools.
So this is prototype B. For this prototype, we chose to do a sort of tab-style interface that's more similar to what Microsoft Word is now, but more cleaned up and more minimalized. Most important and most used features, and generally the features you want to use first are in the main home tab, and that as you go from left to right, you go from more the usual tools to more advanced and less used options. Some of the tools were moved around to make space, such as the copy and paste functions were moved to the bottom just to give us more space to put in some of the tools. And on the advanced tab, you have stuff like citations and headers and footers and table of content stuff that generally you'll only use a few times, as opposed to stuff like the font and the text and bulletins and stuff like that, which you'll be using a lot more often. And so our feedback from prototype B was that people like this better than the original design. They thought it was simple and straightforward. They enjoyed the minimalistic layout a lot more than the original Microsoft Word. The most used features were at most 2 clicks away, so it was really easy to find what you need what tools you needed. They proposed adding a search bar to make finding tools that you couldn't find that were still a little troublesome to find, a little more easier, and they suggested adding a pop-up description to help the user know what tools did what.
So for the high fidelity prototype integration, we mainly chose to go with the interface B, so the tabs interface over the first one we had. So some of the design changes that were recommended by users were adding a search bar and hovering over icons to show a small description of them. And we also chose to redo some of the grouping of the tools, and also an option to expand the main tab so it includes advanced tabs underneath it. So this first one is another low fidelity prototype of what the high fidelity prototype will look like. So you can hover over different icons and it'll show a small description of the icons. And another is where you can search up whatever tool you want to use and it'll pop up the tool. So as you can see here, if you want to use something page related, you can type in page and it'll come out with all of the stuff that has the word page in it. So page break, blank page, cover page, etc. And yep, that finishes off our presentation. Thank you for listening.